Ashley, what's next?
Next one is from Vishan M. I've always appreciated your stance that fans need to get over their dumb DC Marvel rivalry and just focus on being comic book movie fans. So I loved seeing this interview with the producer of Shazam who shot down the notion that anyone should love one at the expense of the other. Did you see the interview and what do you think about his comments?
Yeah, so what he's talking about is that the one of the producers of Shazam was recently talking about Shazam, and within the context of that, the question came up about, this Marvel v DC rivalry that got really toxic. But I gotta say, it's been getting better over the past year. So it's been getting a little bit better. It's still there. It still exists and all that kind of stuff. And one of the things I've always been trying to say is stop being a blind corporate zombie slave. It's like, don't just be, oh, DC's labels on, oh, they're my masters. Oh, Marvel's labels on, oh, they're my Like, get over that sort of thing. Just become comic book movie fans, And it's okay if you prefer one or the other. That's fine. But for so long, in these movies, it was like, if you are a DC movie fan, that meant by definition you're supposed to hate anything that comes out of Marvel. And if you're a fan of the Marvel movies, you are by definition supposed to hate anything that comes out of DC. It's an ass backwards way of thinking. And fortunately, we've been seeing that going away. But anyway, jumping on top of that, we had Peter Safran, who's one of the producers on Shazam, was talking about that. And by the way, guys, I know you've heard me talk about this a lot. Shazam is so freaking good. Shazam is so freaking good. Make sure you go out and see when you do. But anyway, he said the following, and I really like his comments. He said this: I've always believed that which unites comic book fans is much greater than that which divides us. And so the whole Marvel DC rivalry thing is kind of bullshit, because really we're all fans of the same thing. I love the fact that he's talking about James Gunn here, now directing in both Marvel and DC. I love the fact that he's directed a movie for Marvel and is directing a movie for DC, and the earth is not spinning off its axis. It's okay. I love this comment from this guy, Rob. Now, as somebody who's been like really heavy in the comic book world for a long time, like yourself, and as we've seen the different ages of comic book movies, and now this golden age of comic book movies that we're in right now, hearing a producer like the producer Shazam come out and make these sorts of comments, how important are comments like these in the grand scheme of things?
Well, I think they're really important. I mean, this idea, what's so strange to me is, as I've always equated these superhero films to cop movies. Like, you can like a movie like Serpico or The French Connection, and then I can also like a movie like Beverly Hills Cop or To Live and Die in LA. They're all movies about the police, and I don't sit there and go, well, I only watch comedic cop movies, or I only watch hard-boiled detective thrillers, or
I only watch cop movies from Paramount.
Yeah, it's such a strange idea, because the whole concept, like, I like superheroes from companies other than Marvel and DC, for instance. I mean, now Miracle Man's published by Marvel, but originally it wasn't, and I like comic book characters from First or Kamiko, or Boom Studios or Valiant. And this idea that there's some weird Marvel DC rivalry makes no sense to me. It makes no sense to me at all. And I mean, a comic book character is a comic book character. And I just like the whole idea of superheroes as a genre. So I'm going to go see, like, I didn't sit there and go, I'm not going to go see The Crow in 1994 when it came out, because it was published by an indie publisher. It wasn't Marvel or DC, so I'm not going to go see it. Mystery Men, not one from the big two, so I'm not going to go see that either. It's silly. It's so bizarre to me. I mean, I like seeing the different takes on the characters wherever it comes from. And I feel the same way about Shazam. And I think the producer was very cogent, and he made some comments that are worth listening to. And it's bizarre to think somebody like, I grew up loving Marvel and DC, and they would have crossovers. The Teen Titans teamed up with the X-Men. Spider-Man teamed up, or was a Spider-Man versus Superman came out. Was I not going to read that? Because, they teamed up. No, I was the first kid in line. Give it to me. Give it to me now.
Yeah, and it's funny. He isn't the first guy to be talking about this. Like, for a long time, Kevin Feige himself has talked for a long time about. I mean, he's used the the rising tide raises all ships analogy before. About, hey, look, We want DC to do well because the better DC does, the better the comic book genre is, the better it is for us. You know, we've heard Henry Cavill talk about, as Superman, hearing his appreciation for Marvel films. More and more, we've heard more of these people behind the scenes who are in this whole thing on Marvel side or DC side and talking about specifically their appreciation and their need for the other to do well as well. So at this point in time, when you got a great movie like Shazam coming out, for the producer to come out and say, hey man, it's just all about being comic book movie fans. Some will be better than others. You'll prefer some more than others. But at the end of the day, he's right. It's just about being a comic book movie fan. That doesn't mean you need to like them all, but it's just about being a comic book movie fan. And we need to appreciate this great era in. Look at this. We are going to have, Rob, a period of time, provided that Captain Marvel has the legs, and I think it will, that you're going to be able to walk up to your local Cineplex, go up to the box office, and have your pick of seeing Captain Marvel, Shazam, and Avengers Infinity War all in theater at the same time. Oh, and by the way, Hellboy's going to be coming in there too. And what an errand, we just need to take this, and finally it is starting to go away. But this whole ass backwards, toxic nonsense of this tribalism within kind of comic book movie fans, and just come together, like T'Challa says at the end of Black Panther, we are all one tribe, and just appreciate the genre for what it is. So I love hearing comments like this.